But in our bowling alley project, we're going to make the lane out of some timber. We're going to laminate that and glue that together. And we also make this tin pin catcher that we're going to bolt up out of sheet metal. So you will find the plans for that on the sector, and you'll be able to go through those. And what you're going to do is you'll be given a sheet of tin. The sheet of tin will be 220 millimeters this way and 170 millimeters that way. Tools that you're going to need are a engineer's scribe. It may or may not look like this one. A set of spring dividers that you can use to do some measuring and to lay out some of the drawings. And you're going to need a steel rule as well. So they are our main items that we're going to be using to do this, and we'll go from there. So we'll look at our drawing. We've got a 10mm border along the two sides, on the left and the right, and along the top. And so the process that you will do is you will get your steel ruler, you will get your spring dividers, and you'll line up the edge of the spring divider with the edge of the rule, wind that in and adjust that until the other tip of the divider lines up with the 10mm mark. Once you've got that, you're then going to put that scribe one arm against the edge of your sheet and the other one along your tin, and you're going to pull that down towards you and scribe a line that's there. If you like, you can go back another time over the top, and you can do that. Once you've done one, you need to do the one across the top. So again, same process, put one on the edge, drag that down, and it may be a little bit hard for you to see that scratched line on the video, but as long as you do that, you'll be able to follow that. Lastly, we do this one, oops, and sometimes it does skid off like that, so just make sure that you keep that arm down firmly along the edge. Repeat that, and then we've done that. So if we're looking at our sheet of tin now, what we've done is we have drawn this 10mm line there, the one across the top there, and the one down the side there. The next line that we've got is 40mm in from that edge, or it's 50mm in from the edge right across. So if we get our ruler again, and we've only got to do this on the left and the right side, again, adjust your spring dividers so the edge is there, and then adjust it till it hits the 50mm mark. Same process, this is just going now down the left and the right sides. So you can see they're going from the top, working my way down to the bottom. I'll just slip off there carefully. Like that. And flip this around and do this on the other side as well. Oh, must be a bit of a spot on that side there. So now what we've got is we've got these two lines here, these two lines here. We do have to do one across the top. Actually, I missed that, so we're going to just quickly do that. Like that. And we've got now the main lines that are around there. These little bits that we've got here on the drawing, going up and across and down, they are 10mm high. The point there is 10mm in on both corners. So you're going to go from that corner. We're going to draw a line 10 across and 10 across there. And then we're going to draw some diagonals into that space. So we could do that, do 40 from the top, and then we could just scribe a line between this line and this line here, and those two there. If we do that at 40, then we should have that to the right height. If you can't work that out, then you can also measure up from that 50mm line, 40mm from there, 10mm from that line there as well. So it's just going to get this to 40mm. And we'll go from there. Just going to spin this around a little bit. So find your scribe line already. Draw that across there like that. And the same there. Excellent. Okay, now we need to use the ruler and mark a little point. So we're trying to find this point here. So we're going to mark in along there 10mm and then at 30mm there. So it's 10 plus 20 makes 30, and then 10 again makes 40. So I'm just going to do that. Mark a little line there. And mark a little line on the 30. And then we're going to draw a diagonal across from those 2 points. And then repeat that process on the other side. Over a little line there at 10. And one at the 30mm line. And then draw the diagonal between those 2 from that point down to the corner. And then do the other side. And so now we've drawn all that. The 2 dots here are 12mm in from the edge and halfway down on that 10mm line. So you're going to be looking at 5mm there and 12 in from the edge. So if you want, you could then just draw a little line in there. Well, again, we could use our scribe. So let's do that. So we're going to have 40, we're going to make this 45. And then we're going to scribe between those lines that we've just drawn. Making sure that that doesn't slide off. And that will give us those nice little lines. And then we're going to use our ruler and our scribe to measure in 12mm and do a mark. And then 12mm from the other side. And then repeat that over this side. Lovely. So now we've literally drawn that out. We've done all the squares. We'll use the center punch to put some punch marks on there so it holds the drill bit nice and straight. And then we'll proceed in the next video to do the cutting out of our shape. So essentially that's the tools that you'll need. You'll need a scribe. You'll need a set of spring calipers, spring dividers, a steel rule, and your piece of tin that is 220mm by 170mm high. See you in the next video.